I call Maggie Chernikova.
Maggie gets up and goes to the witness stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly promise or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. You may be seated.
Ms. Chernikova, would you rather I address you as Maggie?
You could address me as Maggie. I don't stand on formality. In fact, everyone in this court can address me as Maggie, even you, Your Honor.
Maggie, where were you born?
In a small village outside of Bratislava.
In what country?
At the time it was in Czechoslovakia. Now it's in the Slovak Republic.
So, you are Slovakian?
Yes, and not only that, I come from a village in Slovakia that is known for making the finest and tastiest cheeses in all of Europe. If you ever go to my country, make sure that you eat some of the cheese. My grandmother, bless her soul, showed me how to make cheese. I used to help her. But then I got involved in my studies and moved to Bratislava, so I had to put the cheese making on hold. But I do...
How long have you lived in the United States?
Almost 20 years.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, I'm proud of it. I'll tell you, I blessed the day I came to the United States, the greatest country in the world.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an actress, singer, and fashion model.
So, you are an entertainer?
Yes, I'm an entertainer.
Are you currently attending school?
Madam Chairman, the respondent is willing to agree that the plaintiff is Slovakian, is an entertainer, is a U.S. citizen, attends graduate school, and was a student of the class.
It is so stipulated. Mr. Abelman, let's move on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You were a student in Professor Reinhardt's class?
Madam Chairman, that's already been stipulated.
Please, Mr. Abelman, stop wasting our time.
I don't mean to waste the panel's time. I was just trying to establish a foundation for this witness's testimony.
Move your questioning forward.
Yes, Madam Chair. You wrote a term paper for Professor Reinhardt's class.
Yes, and one of the best papers I ever wrote.
What grade did you receive?
An F. Can you believe that? Can anyone here believe that?
Do you think that grade was fair?
No, of course not. It was about as fair as a foul ball, that's what.
Did you complain to Professor Reinhardt?
You better believe I did.
What did he say?
You can appeal the grade, but I'd be wasting my time. Says him. The nerve of him trying to bribe me as if I was some kind of dodo that could be bought up. Let me tell you, that's not what I'm about. And if anyone here thinks that I am, then
Did anything happen after that?
Yes, Professor Reinhardt called me at my apartment and invited me to meet him at a restaurant.
Did he explain why?
No, he just said to meet him, and like a jerk, I met him.
So, you met him.
I just said that. We met.
Where?
At some dump called Cafe Noir on Main Street.
What did you discuss?
My grade.
What did Professor Reinhardt say?
He said that he would give me an A for the paper, an A for the course, and give me permission to use his name as a reference if I agreed to stay quiet for the rest of the class. But I couldn't stay quiet in the class because I have so much to say and because I found the class so incredibly stimulating. It reminded me of that other class that I took the previous semester that dealt with the history of classical music, a subject that really got me to thinking. It was such a marvelous class and the professor was really outstanding. By the way,
I must interrupt you. Please answer the question.
I'm so sorry. It's just that sometimes my mind just starts racing. You understand, of course. It's like Dr. Vanderhorst said. I have this condition, and sometimes it kicks in at the most embarrassing times.
Please just answer the question.
What was the question?
After Professor Reinhardt offered to give you an A for the course, etc., if you agreed to stay silent in class, what did you say?
I said no. I would not be silenced.
And what did Professor Reinhardt say?
That there could be consequences.
Did anything else occur?
Yes.
What occurred?
I was getting up to leave, and somehow a glass of water on the table wound up on Professor Reinhardt's head. He moved his head, and it got in the way of the glass, and over it went, right on the professor's head. You should have seen the look on his face.
What did that happen?
Aren't you listening to me? His head got in the way of the glass. While I was collecting my belongings, I happened to grab the glass to take a drink of water, and while I was leaning over the table to shake Professor Reinhardt's hand, he moved his head, the glass slipped out of my hand, and the water poured right over his head. It was an accident.
Then what happened?
I left. I was tired and the food stunk.
When you were in class, did Professor Reinhardt ever talk to you about your participation in class?
No.
Did he ever warn you that you were, let's say, monopolizing class?
No.
Or showing him up?
No.
Or that you were failing?
No.
Did you know Professor Reinhardt's ethnicity?
Yes.
What was it?
German.
How did you know that?
Because Reinhardt is a German name. Where I'm from, it's a very common name.
Did you harbor any animosity towards Professor Reinhardt because of his German ethnicity?
I couldn't care less.
Prior to enrolling in the class, have you ever met Professor Reinhardt?
No.
Did anyone ever mention him to you?
No.
Did the name Ernst Reinhardt mean anything to you?
No.
Why do you believe the grade of F is unfair?
Because it had nothing to do with the quality of my work. I worked like a dog to write that paper, and look what I got, an F.
So the grade was based on what?
Obviously, on my refusing to knuckle under to Professor Reinhardt's demand to remain silent. Even a child could see through that.
Objection, speculation.
Overruled. You may continue.
Thank you. Do you believe that you're excessively taught?
I know that occasionally I do get kind of wordy, but that's just the way I am. Usually I get that way when I'm with people I like.
So you like Professor Reinhardt?
Well, at first I did, but after meeting at that restaurant, that all changed.
Yet you still continue to participate in class?
Yes, and as often as possible. Like, for instance, when we talked about the final days of the rec, I had an awful lot to say and nobody stopped me. I thought it was okay with the professor. He looked pleased. He'd look at me with a certain smile whenever I said something in class.
Did any of your fellow classmates complain about your class participation?
Not that I know of. In fact, a lot of times I provoked laughter. Gee, I wonder if they were laughing at me.
Did Professor Reinhardt ever specifically make any mention of your Slovakian ethnicity?
Not to me, he didn't.
No further questions. Your witness.
Are you a klutz?
Are you a twat?
Please direct the witness to stop being argumentative and answer the question.
The witness is directed to stop being argumentative and to answer the question.
Do you have any problems with physical coordination?
No.
Then how did the water inside the glass that you were holding in your hand wind up on Professor Reinhardt's head?
Like I said, I went to shake his hand and the glass slipped and out came the water. What do you think, that I poured it over his head on purpose?
Oh, did you?
No way! It was his fault that he got all wet. I was getting up to leave. I had enough of our date, I just wanted to go home.
Isn't it true that you hate my client?
Hate him? No way, he's not worth it.
He gives you an F on the paper, flunks you for the course, and you don't harbor any hatred for him.
He flunked me. That doesn't mean I have to hate him for it.
After you learned that you had gotten an F on your paper, didn't you tell my client, quote, "You wanted to shut me up"? That's what the communists try to do to my people in Slovakia. You're no different than them. In fact, you're worse because at least the communists were upfront about what they were doing, not sneaky and pretentious like you. Close quote.
I don't remember exactly what I said. I was upset, and when I get upset, it affects my memory. You can ask Dr. Bagelhorn.
Isn't it a fact that you're more than just upset, that you were livid with rage?
No way! Now you're making things up.
Did you not tell my client, quote, "You gave me an F. Are you fucking serious?" Close quote.
I really don't recall exactly what I said. If I said that, so what? We're both adults.
Did you not threaten my client when you said, quote, "This is finished"? Well, it isn't. Closed quote.
I'm sorry, I cannot recall my exact words. I will admit I was upset, but who wouldn't be?
Are you a teacher?
No.
Are you licensed or certified in the field of education?
No.
Have you ever taught in the classroom?
No.
Have you ever graded term papers?
No.
Do you have a PhD?
No.
Then how do you presume to second guess my client?
Because he treated me unfairly.
Or maybe you can't accept the fact that he was right, that your paper deserved an F.
I don't know. Trying to sort this out is beginning to give me a huge headache.
I object to this entire line of questioning. The counseling is badgering the witness.
The witness is hostile and being evasive.
Objection overruled. However, I must admonish both counsels to refrain from being overly aggressive in examinations. Are you prepared to continue?
I'm okay now, Your Highness.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Now, you are Slovakian, correct?
With a name like Chernikova, what else could I be?
And you knew that my client is of German background.
Only because of his name.
But you knew that he had a German name.
Yes.
Isn't it true that you wanted to target my client because of his German ethnicity?
Objection! That question is way out of line.
Counselor, where are you going with this?
I'm trying to establish that the witness hardened malice for my client.
She already testified as to why she was upset.
I do not believe that the witness has been totally forthcoming in her testimony.
The panel will decide who's forthcoming. In the meantime, I'll grant you a little bit of latitude on this line of questioning, but only a little. Objection overruled. You may proceed.
Thank you. Is it not true that Slovakia was occupied by Germany during World War II?
Yes, but I was not alive at the time. And the war ended a long time ago.
And isn't it true that during the German occupation of Slovakia, the Germans treated the Slovaks with extreme brutality and did everything they could to destroy Slovak culture?
That's what the history books say. What are you trying to do? Teach me history?
And didn't you specifically talk about how the Germans had occupied Czechoslovakia during the war and how your father fought against the Nazis and the communists?
I can't recall everything I said, but it's possible that I said that.
And didn't you discuss how your father had fought against the Germans and the Russians?
I wasn't listening to myself.
So isn't it true that you're obsessed with Germans?
No way!
In fact, you hate Germans, isn't that true?
I don't hate anybody. I love everybody. I have lots of friends. As a matter of fact, I go out of my way to help people whenever I can. Just because I filed a complaint against Professor Reinhardt doesn't mean I hate him. After all, we're all human beings. And as they say in Slovakia,
Then why did you bring up your father in class? you have studied the Munich Conference and the German occupation of Slovakia during World War II.
We were taught the history in school. What's the big deal? Here you're taught about the Civil War. That doesn't mean that Southerners hate Northerners.
And in school, were you not taught that the Germans in Czechoslovakia allied themselves with Adolf Hitler?
Yes.
And that the Czech Germans were a bunch of traitors?
Yes, we were taught that. We were taught a lot of stuff.
Do you believe that what you were taught was the
At the
truth?
time, I had no basis for questioning it.
But you questioned it later.
Yes, I did.
When?
After I came to the United States.
So after you came to the United States, you started questioning what you were taught at home?
Yes.
How did this transformation occur?
I don't know. I can't explain it. And I'll tell you something else. My headache is getting worse.
Is that because that transformation never happened?
You're confusing me.
Objection. Once again, Madam Chairman, I ask that counsel stop badgering the witness and get to the point of it.
Objection sustained. Go to another line of questioning.
Thank you. Madam Chairman. Did Professor Reinhardt write any comments on your paper?
Yes.
How many?
I don't know. I didn't count them.
Did each page contain at least one comment?
I don't know. You tell me. All I know is that he flunked me for nothing.
Would it come as a surprise to you if I told you that Professor Reinhardt wrote 47 comments on your paper?
If you say so.
Fine. Let the record show that the witness agrees that the paper contains 47 comments by Professor Reinhardt.
Duly noted.
Did you read any of Professor Reinhardt's comments?
Yes.
How many?
One. The one that said F. That was enough.
So you really don't know why he failed you? True.
Not true. Because I'm from Slovakia and because I wouldn't shut up like he wanted me to.
And not because you submitted a poorly written paper.
No, my paper was just fine.
I would like for you to read 2 of Professor Reinhardt's comments.
Sandra gives Maggie a copy of the term paper.
Do you recognize that document?
Yes.
What is it?
It looks like a copy of my term paper.
Madam Chairman, the document provided to the witness is a certified copy of the original term paper.
Are there any objections? Hearing none, the panel rules that said copy is an authentic reproduction of the original. You may continue.
Thank you.
Why do you need to ask the witness about the paper? She was given an F. The paper contains lots of comments, none of which are complimentary and all which are very critical. So why embarrass the witness?
I'm not looking to embarrass the witness. I want to show that the grade of F was legitimate and not arbitrary, and to give the witness an opportunity to explain her objections.
I move that the witness not be required to answer any of the questions about the paper. I think we could read the Professor Reinhardt's comments ourselves. Madam Chairman, the witness was flunked. What's there to discuss? To have a witness try to refute the commentary would be pointless. We know that she disagrees with the grade, and the real question is, was the witness treated fairly?
My colleagues' objections are duly noted and overruled by the chair. However, testimony will be limited to one comment only. You may continue.
Thank you. Please turn to page 14 of your paper and read the comment noted at the bottom of the page.
This statement about the Nuremberg Conference is entirely erroneous and unsubstantiated by any sources. In addition, your statement that Neville Chamberlain was duped by Hitler is entirely speculative, poorly argued, and unsupported by any evidence. Further, your writing contains numerous errors in spelling and syntax indicative of shoddy writing.
Does that statement you just read describe a paper that deserves a passing grade?
He is entitled to his opinions, even if they're wrong.
I have no further questions for this witness.
If I may redirect.
You may.
Thank you. Have you ever failed a college or postgraduate course?
No, I never failed a course.
Have you ever received an F on a term paper?
No, not even close.
Have you ever been told that your schoolwork is shoddy?
No, because my schoolwork has always been of the highest quality.
Or that your writing is substandard?
No,
Have you ever been barred from applying to a school?
no.
What is your current grade point average?
3.20, and it would be even higher if it wasn't for Professor Reinhardt.
Why did you talk about your father in class?
Like I said before, Professor Reinhardt brought up the subject of the Munich Conference, a time during which my father was alive. I'm proud of my father's record. He was a patriot who put his life on the line. It had nothing to do with Professor Reinhardt being German. He could have been anything, and I still would have brought up my father.
No further questions.
I wish to further cross-examine.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Why can't you accept that you wrote a terribly flawed paper?
Objection!
Screw you too!
The witness is being
he leaves the witness stand, he returns to table. Do you have any other witnesses to call?
Yes, I do.
You may call your witness.
Thank you. I call Professor Ernst Ryan.
I object.
You want to call as a witness the respondent? Isn't that rather unusual?
Perhaps unusual, but his testimony is critical to establish the facts in this case.
I repeat my objection. My client is under no obligation to testify, none at all.
Again, I call Professor Reinhardt to the witness stand.
He wants me to testify, no big deal. He can ask me all the questions he likes.
As your attorney, I'm advising you that you are under no obligation to testify.
I have nothing to hide. If he wants to waste more of the court's time with me, let him do it. I'll indulge in his fun.
Madam Chairman, my client agrees to testify.
The witness will enter the witness stand.
Reinhardt enters the witness stand.
Please raise your right hand.
Reinhardt raises his right hand.
Do you solemnly promise or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may be seated.
Professor Reinhardt, it is a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
I read your curriculum vitae and it's published by the school. It says that you are the author of 14 books. Is that true?
Yes.
They all deal with different aspects of European history in the mid-20th century, correct?
That is correct.
Two of your books you wrote are I Serve with Honor and When the Fatherland Called, a German soldier story, correct?
Correct.
These books are about whom?
My father, Victor Reinhardt.
Your father served in the Wehrmacht during World War II.
Yes.
What was his rank?
At the end of the war, he was a colonel.
Where was he born?
In Prague.
He was German.
Culturally, yes.
Why do you say cultural?
Because he wasn't born in Germany.
Yet he considered himself German.
Yes, culturally.
After Czechoslovakia was founded, where did your father live?
In a small town near the German border.
In a region that was then known as Sudetenland?
Yes.
According to your book, I Serve with Honor, your father was a member of a political organization that supported German annexation of the Sudetenland. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And after the Sudetenland was annexed by Germany, your father joined the German army, correct?
Correct. Obviously, you have read my books.
I have. During the war, where was your father stationed?
In various places. France, the general government, Vienna, Prague.
What about Bratislava?
There too.
When?
Late 1944.
While stationed in Bratislava in late 1944, was your father involved in any military or paramilitary operations?
First, my father was never involved in paramilitary operations. Those charges against him were dismissed by a U.S. military court.
What was he accused of?
He was accused of murdering 97 civilians in a village outside of Bratislava. But those so-called civilians were a cadre of terrorists and thugs who were trying to overthrow the Tiso government and create their own so-called Slovak Republic. They were terrorizing the local population and murdering German soldiers who, including my father, were there to maintain law and order and protect the population.
So your father fought against the Slovaks,
He fought against bandits.
but in Slovakia, correct?
Correct.
Did your father otherwise admire the Slovaks?
I don't know. We never discussed it with me.
You were born in the United States, but grew up in Germany, correct?
Yes.
How old were you when you first learned that your father was accused of war crimes?
I was 16 years old. I had just moved back to the United States with my parents. Then one day, my father received a letter from the Justice Department informing him that he was being investigated for having lied on his original application to enter the United States. Questions were being raised regarding his involvement in the deaths of the 97 civilians. Two people, who I later learned were Slovaks, came out of the woodwork and claimed that my father was present when the incident occurred. I was shocked. You couldn't find a more honorable man in the world than my father, but instead, he became the subject of a witch hunt, the likes of which drove him to an early death.
You knew that my client was a Slovak, correct?
At first, no, but later on, yes.
How did you learn she was a Slovak?
She told the class during one of her run-on tirades.
And during one of her run-on tirades, she had mentioned that her father had fought against the Nazis.
Yes, she did.
And that did not bother you?
What do you mean?
That her father may have fought against your father, that her father may have been one of those bandits that your father wanted to eliminate.
That never even occurred to me.
So, you were not offended by my client's comments?
Absolutely not. I was teaching a history class, not refighting the war.
At some point, you and my client met at a restaurant called Cafe Noir, correct?
Correct.
This was your idea, correct?
Correct.
Why did you want to meet with her?
To discuss certain aspects of her behavior in class that I found objectionable.
What exactly was she doing that was so objectionable?
She was trying to undercut my authority by employing long-winded replies to monopolize class time. She did this to deliberately show me up. That I observed.
What makes you so sure?
She wanted to humiliate me because I was a German and she knew it. She wanted to rub my face in the dirt and watch me smirk.
Why didn't you just tell her to shorten her comments?
Because the class seemed to adore her, so I felt powerless to intercede. Each class I had to endure her satirical blabbering. To have cut her off would have alienated the entire class. I tried to reason with her at the restaurant, but after our meeting, her behavior became worse. In one class, she talked nonstop for over 30 minutes. Do you know what it's like to have to sit and listen to someone running off with the mouth nonstop for 30 minutes?
So when you graded her term paper, you were angry at my client.
Yes, I was, but that did not affect the way I graded her paper. Her paper stunk, period. Regardless of what I thought about her personally, she wrote what I found to be the most poorly written, or should I say concocted excuse for a dissertation I have ever read. A 10-year-old with even a limited skill in writing could have done a better job. Her spelling and grammar were atrocious. The paper contained not even one clearly stated idea. Her bibliography came straight out of the children's section of the public library. In short, her writing emulated the content and style of her speech, rambling and inane, which made reading her paper even more excruciating and oppressive experience for me. It should have been me suing her for mislanguage.
The fact that my client is Slovak and you, the son of a Sudeten German, had no bearing on your decision to fail.
None whatsoever. Maggie earned that distinction all by herself.
And the fact that she poured water on your head in public had no bearing either.
No, it did not. I am not so petty that I would use such incivility against her. Her story about the glass having accidentally slipped is so transparently ridiculous that it requires no further comment.
But still, didn't it make you feel even angrier at her?
Maybe it did, but the fact remains that her paper was woefully substandard, and I graded it accordingly.
I'm done with this witness. Your witness.
You're a fully tenured professor, correct?
Yes, correct.
In your years teaching college, how many papers have you graded?
Thousands.
In your years as a professor, your students were of which ethnicity?
I don't know. I never took a survey, nor did I ever ask.
In your years teaching college, is the plaintiff the only student you have ever failed?
No.
Is the plaintiff the only student who has ever accused you of being biased?
Yes.
Did the plaintiff deliberately attack you at the restaurant
Yes.
without provocation?
Yes.
Is that why you did not try to curb her excessive commentary in class?
Partially, yes.
Because you were afraid of her.
Partly, yes.
You were afraid of what she might do to you if you tried to reimpose your authority over her.
Yes.
Did you discuss this with any of your colleagues?
No.
Why not?
Because it would have been humiliating for me to admit that I was afraid of a student, especially a female student.
I'm finished.
Do you wish to redirect?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair. Is it your testimony that you tolerated or endured my client's supposedly long-winded commentary in class because you were afraid of her?
Yes.
But my client testified that pouring the water over your head at the restaurant was an accident. So why would you be afraid of her?
Because it was not an accident. It was deliberate.
But wasn't it you who set up the meeting?
Yes, it was, and I regret it now.
Did my client ever behave aggressively in class?
No, but she behaved aggressively with me.
Okay. Hypothetically presuming that my client did behave aggressively with you, do you think you could have done or said something to provoke her?
No.
I'm finished my redirect.
Do you wish to recross-examine?
No, Madam Chairman.
You may step down.
Reinhardt leaves the witness box and returns to his table.
Do you wish to call any more witnesses?
The plaintiff rests.
Do you wish to call any more witnesses?
Respondent rests.
Since both the plaintiff and respondent rest, we will now have closing summations. First by the respondent, then by the plaintiff, and then a rebuttal by the respondent. We will now have a brief 5-minute recess to give the attorneys time to prepare their summation.